Hey sports fans, are you in the market for Florida sports or just keeping up with the latest in the Panhandle? Palm Tree Sports is a dedicated audio hub to all things sports in the Sunshine State. We cover current events, big news, heavily favored opinions all across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and so much more. So come check us out every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For a down south education on Florida sports and athletics, it's hosted by yours truly, Corey Pujols, and is powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols. I am your host, and as always, is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Happy Saturday, you guys. I am happy to be coming to you guys. Had a very eventful day today so far. College football is looking like another great week is starting to wrap up here as we're getting closer to the end of these secondary games. I am currently watching the Georgia-Tennessee game, and Georgia is starting to pull away as Georgia tends to do. Number one team in the country, showing us why they're number one, guys. So shout out to the Bulldogs. You know, obviously I'm a Gator, so not the biggest fan of Georgia or Tennessee for that matter, but nothing like two SEC teams, you know, going down late in the afternoon, and it's been a good game. Georgia's up 38-10, guys, for those of you who haven't seen it. They're going to go ahead and wrap this game up as we head into the fourth and move on into their SEC championship game, which is going to be taking place against the Alabama Crimson Tide at Alabama Crimson Tide. My apologies, guys. As Alabama clinched earlier this week. So, with that being said, or not earlier this week, but today, you guys get what I'm saying. But with that being said, guys, let's get right into what's going on here in Florida. Let's talk about our Florida teams. And as always, you know, we're going to start with the NFL. Give us something to look forward to this upcoming week with Thanksgiving right around the corner. You guys know what that means. Food, family, and football. My favorite personal combination of F words, to say the least, you guys. I absolutely adore this time of year. This is my favorite time of the year. These 3 months, October, November, and December. This is when I get to spend the most time with my family. This is when me, my father, my mother, my cousins, my auntie, my uncles, and we get together. We watch some football, eat some great food, of course, and wrap it up with some family time. You know, no matter what form that takes for you guys, whether it's sports, whether it's movies, you know, park, whatever the case may be. I really hope you guys enjoy this time. But you know what I'm going to be doing. We're going to be watching some football, baby. So, now then, that we've got that covered, the Buccaneers, guys, let's talk about Tampa Bay, huh? So, Tampa Bay has finally got back into the win column last week against the Tennessee Titans. So here's the thing, guys. You know, everybody was telling me, you know, Larry and all the guys, everybody was telling me, hey, listen, the Titans aren't that good of a football team. Y'all should win this game. Here's the deal, okay? Here's the deal, all right? We thought that the Bucs were looking as bad as Tennessee was, okay? So clearly we're not, all right, which is a good thing. The bad thing is, if you watched the game or you saw any of the highlights from the game, there were a few moments in the game where you're just sitting there shaking your head. So let me address these things first before we get into the ideal part of the show, you know, where I talk about who they're playing, you know, when they're playing and all that beautiful stuff. Here's the thing. I'm a Baker fan. Okay, I'm a Baker Mayfield fan. I believe in Baker Mayfield. I know there are a lot of people talking about his time in Cleveland and talking about his time in Carolina and talking about his time in LA. Listen, he's bouncing around. He's had all these different offensive coordinators, none of which have been really good for that matter. Okay, let's get that out there. The head coaches, same ball game. I don't even think our head coach is all that good. I think Todd Bowles is still living in the 80s and the 90s, and he's got to get his head out of his behind, because when he coaches defensively, he's phenomenal. He's a savant. He's a wizard, okay? But we know that already. The offense has always been the problem for Tampa Bay. Back into the late 90s, guys, if you look at the history of Tampa Bay historically has always had relatively decent, you know, defenses, okay? And whether you look at the talent or whether you look at the stats, it doesn't really matter. Tampa Bay has been widely considered to be known for its defense, if anything. Definitely in our special teams, okay? And it hasn't been the offense. The few times that it had been the offense, there was always something holding the team back, whether it was the lack of a run game, whether it was the lack of depth at receiver, whether it was the lack of tight ends like we're having right now, where we have no tight ends, we have no backup running backs. I mean, we have a good backup running back. He's just not being played for some reason. Now, why Sean Tucker's not touching the ball, I'm sure I don't know. I imagine he's the better number 2 option behind Rachaad White, but we haven't seen him. Okay, so the receiving core, about as what you would expect. Mike Evans balling off over 700 yards already receiving. He's on pace to go ahead and go over that 1,000-yard mark again for the 10th straight season, matching Jerry Rice as the only receiver in NFL history to do that. Yes, I know that because I'm also a Niners fan, which is what brings me to my concern for this week. The Buccaneers are going to be playing the Niners. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. All right. Baker Mayfield's not the problem, but last week he had a couple of plays where we were just asking ourselves, Baker, what were you doing? Okay, the receivers, best part of our team. Okay, like hands down, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. All right, like Trey Palmer. Like wow, this receiving core is actually nasty. All right, very good receiving core. Very happy what we have here. No tight ends to speak of whatsoever. I don't even know what the tight ends do anymore. I mean, are they just like skinny offensive linemen? Is that what it? Because I don't know what they do, because they're not doing anything, all right? And I mean that with my whole heart. Like, we need to draft Brock Bowers. If he comes out in the draft this year, that needs to be Tampa Bay's number 1 or number 2 option unless we're going to draft another quarterback, okay? Which is something that's been a hot topic down here in Tampa. What is Tampa going to do with their draft pick? I say in the first round, if you can, try to get a quarterback, right? I mean, because there's just too many good names on the board for this year to just let those that pass you. I personally, if I'm in the office, I'm drafting a quarterback in my first round. Okay. Now, the possible option for Tampa Bay would be to somehow trade up back into the first round to draft Brock. Okay, because again, we have like 4 tight ends on the team, and none of them do anything. They don't do anything. They don't block. They don't pass block. They don't catch passes. I think we have 1 tight end with a touchdown this year. Like so what are we doing? What are we doing? Against these teams without tight ends. All right, because in case you didn't notice, guys, a lot of teams that win Super Bowls have outstanding tight ends. Look at the Chiefs. Okay, Travis Kelce. Look at the Buccaneers and the Patriots beforehand. Yeah, Gronk. Okay, you look at these teams that find success, and they all have very good tight ends. Okay, so this is something that's sorely missing from Tampa Bay's offense. Could be the missing link in all honesty, at least from the starting role perspective. So it's just something for Tampa Bay to take into consideration. But guys, as somebody who watches this, who sits right here in front of the TV and watches every snap that is played by Tampa Bay, let me tell you, the biggest issue, all right, is the lack of a tight end presence. And I mean an actual tight end. I mean like Gronk was. When Gronk was here, he was blocking, he was catching passes, he's on special teams, he's doing everything, okay? That's what we need, all right? Now, with that being said, Tampa Bay played a good games last week, okay, against Tennessee Titans. Defense showed up, showed out. They played pretty immaculately, to say the least, okay? Gave up a couple of plays, but nothing like what happened against that Lions team a few weeks back, all right? So Tampa Bay defense, I'm proud of you guys, but it also happened because the offense was able to sustain drives. Let's not sit here and ignore this. Tampa Bay offense put up 22 points. 20 points, my apologies. Now, that's not a lot, but what do I say about the game of football? If you want to win the game, you got to score over 20. You got to keep the other team from scoring 20. If you can do that, you'll have a winning record every game of the season. Why? Because this is the NFL. This isn't college. We're not going to watch first-ranked Georgia destroy 18th-ranked Tennessee 38-10 in the NFL. That's not how that translates, guys. And for those of you who've been watching football for a long time, the Dolphins just put up 70 against the Broncos earlier this year. I get it. That was the first time in 40 years. 50 years. Okay, I think, what was it, 72? When the Giants did that? I think it was the Giants who did it. But you get what I'm saying. It doesn't happen. It's not conventional, and it's not going to happen very often. So, Tampa Bay, we have to do a better job sustaining drives on offense. We got to stay healthy on defense, okay, obviously. But we have to stay on the field offensively and give our defense time to rest, be fresh, and let each drive come to them every couple of minutes, not every couple of seconds, all right? Because during this 4-game losing streak that we finally just snapped, all right, our defense was on the field more than our offense. If your defense is on the field more than your offense, you're losing that game. It's like trying to play chess and you're on the defense the whole time. You're not going to win very many chess games if you're playing defense the whole time. All right, so look, that's just what it is, guys. Let's go ahead and get into this next bit right here against the 49ers. So the Buccaneers-49ers game going to be played tomorrow, late afternoon game, 4:05. So set your time for that, guys. I don't know if this game is going to be competitive, okay? Here's the thing. Last year, around this time, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played the San Francisco 49ers, and at halftime, the score was 35-7. Niners, okay? Also, I am a Niners fan as well. So I can tell you the Niners have a really good historical record against the Buccaneers. Okay? I think the Buccaneers have beaten them 4, 5, 6 times in their history. I'm pretty sure they've played more than double that. So you guys get what I'm saying. Tampa Bay doesn't typically win against a San Francisco 49ers team. And when they do, it's usually because they are the better team. They're not just better in one facet, they're the better team, all right? Now, we know 49ers are known for their defense, one of the better defenses in the league, okay? I personally believe that this is one of the best teams in all of football, all right? Now, Brock, he's going through some stuff, all right? One minute he's hot, the next minute he's cold. One minute he's throwing 3 interceptions, the next minute he's throwing 3 touchdowns. I don't know. I get it. Out west, there's a lot going on. You know, who knows what he's going through? He's a young kid, all right? He was Mr. Irrelevant, all right? And his first start came against Tampa Bay last year. Now it's come full circle. We're about to see right now, all right? Well, not right now. Tomorrow at 4:05 p.m., we're going to find out. But if Brock Purdy is the real deal or not the real deal, and at least the real deal against Tampa Bay. Personally, I don't really see how Tampa Bay has a way to win this. San Francisco's frontline defense, that I think they play a 3-4 defense. That 3-4 is absolutely disgusting. All right, that front 7 is nasty, and it only just got better too. Okay, so I'm looking at San Francisco, and I'm saying, guys, it's your game to lose. Come out flat if you want to. Spot Tampa Bay as many points as you want. Be my guest. I'd love to see Tampa Bay upset the 49ers, but let's just be honest here. On paper, the only way Tampa Bay wins this game is if on offense they go deep, and I mean deep, and I mean touchdown Mike Evans deep, all right? Touchdown Chris Godwin's deep. Trey Palmer with some speed on him. Here's the deal. The weakest part of that defense is the secondary. If the Buccaneers are going to have a shot, they're going to have to take shots early and often. They're going to have to make that defense pin their ears back. They're going to have to make that defense blitz when they don't want to blitz, all right, and counter. Now, that's a dangerous way to play football, especially in the NFC, okay? But we're talking about San Francisco 49ers, all right? We're talking about the 6-3 San Francisco 49ers, again, who were up 35-7 on the Buccaneers this time last year when they played. So, keys to success for Tampa Bay is very simple. Hold the ball, don't turn the ball over, score when the opportunity is there, and go deep. Find your receivers, find whoever's one-on-one. Whenever the safety's sliding over, Baker needs to not think about it and just launch it and just put it in there. It's going to be a tough game, and if they're able to do that, all right, and they're able to get to Brock, all right, make Brock uncomfortable. Now, the guy has a lot of poise, so it's going to be hard for him to get uncomfortable, but you still got to try to do it, right? I mean, when you're fighting Batman, you don't just, you don't just go for the obvious play because he's prepared for that, all right? So just keep that in consideration. This is a bit of one of those situations where if Tampa Bay wants to be successful, they will have to play, damn near a perfect game, and, Baker's going to have to show up. Baker's going to have to go back to Oklahoma Baker and just be a dog for 60 minutes. And I mean a dog. Defensive line's going to have to win. All right? It's very simple on defense. If the defensive line wins against that 49ers offensive line, it doesn't matter what Brock does, we'll win the game. Okay? But if their defense is going to do that, they're going to have to get some rest. They're going to have to not be on the field for too long, because if they are, Brock will wear that team down. He is a dual-threat quarterback after all, and I would not be surprised if he used his legs to edge out this game at all. So I'm not going to give a score prediction. However, it would be an upset if Tampa Bay wins this game. The following game, you guys, all right, let's go ahead and move on from this. The following game is going to be against the Colts, as we keep it in the AFC South, which is who we had. Our luck of the draw was, the AFC South, so NFC South, AFC South, respectively, the 2 weakest divisions in all of football at the moment. Or at least from the AFC's perspective and in the NFC's perspective, that is. And, that game is going to be played Sunday, November 26th, 1 p.m. start time. That's going to be a 5-5 game, a 5-5 Colts team that we're going to see without Anthony Richardson. So without Anthony Richardson, we're not going to have to really worry about the dual threat very much. And Tampa Bay's defense does well when they're not playing against a dual threat quarterback. So I think that Tampa Bay can win this game, which would then at that point at least notch them a fifth win, my apologies, this season if we cannot beat the 49ers. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that game goes. I don't think that's going to be as hard a game as the Niners game is, obviously, but the Colts do have a decent defense, so we'll see how they play. We'll see if they come out to play, and more specifically, we'll see if the Buccaneers come to look for a win, or if they're just, if they're just balling on a budget at this point, because we will see soon enough. I'll give you a score prediction for that game. Tampa Bay is going to win that game. I think that they win it probably 26-17. I'm giving the Colts 17 points simply because I believe that game is at Indianapolis, and whenever we're at somebody else's, domain, I always feel like they have a strong chance to at least start out strong. I wouldn't be surprised if they start out with a touchdown and then the defense kind of settles down and then, maybe they have a touchdown in garbage time. But I think Tampa Bay wins this game. And like I said, I'm going to go 26-17 Tampa Bay. Kicker's going to have a big day, of course, probably kick 3 or 4 field goals, a couple of touchdowns. Rashad White should sniff the end zone as well. And so that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking for the Colts game. But I'm not thinking ahead. 49ers tomorrow, 4:05 p.m. if you're looking to watch that game. Bay versus Bay. My 2 favorite football teams in NFL history playing each other, but it's always going to be Go Buccaneers. I mean, for 1 week and 1 week only, I hate the 49ers, and that's this week, guys. Now, let's move on to the Jags. So, Jacksonville Jaguars. This team was hot, man. They were on fire, dude. I don't know if it's healthy to say that a Jaguar was on fire, but I can only imagine a flame-breathing Jaguar. That would be pretty cool. There's an idea for a superhero or a super villain. Anyway, Jaguars were on a 5-game win streak before they ran into the, guess who, San Francisco 49ers. So here's the deal. San Francisco was coming off a loss the week prior to playing the Jaguars, and Jaguars on a 5-game win streak. I'm thinking the Jaguars are going to ride this momentum, and they're just going to keep staying hot, and they're just going to, ride off into the sunset with the success that they found being able to win this on this 5-game win streak, okay, which coincidentally their last loss was to the Texans, who seems to be the hottest team, sub 500 at the moment, all right? And I'm saying that to say this. The Texans are clearly the surprise team of the year. Okay, whoever thought the Texans were going to come out and be balling like this, I don't think anybody was betting on that. Okay, maybe they started to once they saw the Texans start winning games, and once they beat the Jaguars. And before that, I thought the Jaguars were the surprise team of the year. It's the Texans. Okay, the Jaguars show that they're still human, and that the 49ers are really that good, okay? So what I mean to say by that is the score of that game was, of course, a loss for Jacksonville, the 3rd one on the season, but it came in the form of a 34-3 destructive outputting and lack thereof in offense and defensive category, okay? The Jaguars were completely outmatched, okay? For anybody who watches Attack on Titan, it's an animated show from Japan. It's like the Titans versus the humans in the first season, okay? There wasn't much of a battle. There was just a lot of wrecking and losing and letters being written home, and not the good kind, okay? I say that to say this. The Jaguars have been humbled, all right? 5-game win streak. Maybe it goes to your head. Maybe you're feeling too good about yourself. I don't know. I don't know how to put it. I don't know where to put it. The bottom line is very simple. It's this, okay? The Jacksonville Jaguars, all right, have to do better. Because they're great when they're not playing great teams. But when you're playing one of the best teams in the league, you get dropped 34-3, not a single touchdown on the board. So, Jags, time to look in the mirror. It's time to make like Michael Jackson and have a look in that mirror. All right, and it's time to change. All right, if you guys want to be known as a top 10 team, which I believe that you are, okay, you had an off day. Trevor Lawrence is dealing with some illnesses, okay, not just illnesses, but like physically speaking, he's not 100%. That's noticeable. All right, it's no excuse. It's no excuse. You still got to go out there. You still got to ball. You still got to play hard. All right, the 49ers rolled into town, had their way with you. All right, terrible outing. Guys look just like the Bucs did last year against this team. Okay. So, that's important, Jags. If you guys want to get back on the ball and you want to win this AFC South, my apologies, you're going to have to find a W tomorrow starting with the Titans. Now, here's a gimme game. Titans suck, all right? Watch the game last week. We get it. Titans suck. It is what it is, all right? There's no way around it. Titans are definitely, they need help, all right? No Tannehill, no chance. I get it, all right? You still got to go win the game, Jags. You win the game, you go to 7-3. All right, you win the next game against the Texans, 5-4 Texans. I said sub 500. I meant above 500 Texans team earlier when I said that. My apologies, Texans. Yeah, that'll put you at 7-8 wins. All right, 8-3 is gonna be looking really good. All right, as you head into the last couple of games, of the last 5-6 games of the season. Okay, but you got to get there. All right, so let's find a W here tomorrow, Jags. All right, let's find a W and let's build on that. Let's build upon it and let's put this AFC South to rest. All right, you lost the first game against the Texans. That was the last loss before the 49ers lost. So go get that one back in 2. All right, and take control of the AFC South. That's what's going on for the Jags. Very simple. Trevor Lawrence dealing with some He's not 100% physically speaking. He probably just needs a little extra rest. He's probably been getting banged up a little bit, taking some unseen shots, I guess you could say. And that happens with quarterbacks, right? We've seen it happen time and time again. We've seen it happen with Joe Burrow. We've seen it happen with Baker Mayfield. We've seen it happen with, what's his name? Lamar Jackson. And it's funny, you think Lamar Jackson doesn't get hit. No, he gets hit sometimes. Don't get me wrong, he does, and you see him. You see him feel it sometimes. So, just putting that out there, some of the best quarterbacks in the league are dealing with physical issues, and Trevor Lawrence isn't immune to that. So, get better, Trevor, and go off, bro. Just go off. Have yourself a game. ETM definitely is going to have to find his rhythm in the next few weeks, especially if they want to be successful in the playoffs, because one thing that all successful teams in the playoffs do is run the football. We know this. So, Jags want to be successful, have to find that run game again. Now, the Finns have had a break. All right, they've had a long break. They haven't played football in November 5th. It's the 18th. They haven't played football in 13 days. Okay, so there's a strong chance that Miami's going to come out healthy. They're going to come out ready to go. They just got their running back, Devon Atkin. How do you say his name? Oh, my gosh. You guys get what I'm saying. They got their starting running back. Okay, he's rookie running back. He was injured. He was out for a couple of weeks due to a knee injury, and he's back. He's off of injury reserve, which is a big deal for them because he was their leading rusher before his injury to that knee. Now, that loss to the Chiefs 13 days ago, essentially 2 weeks ago, should have been a wake-up call for the Finns. They've been playing rocky football all season long, all right? They're at 6-3, but they're right. It doesn't feel like they're a 6-3 Miami team, right? Because, you put up 70 against the Broncos, and you come out and lose the next game after that, and you're sitting there like, all right, was that a joke? Like, did y'all just burn out of everything that y'all had in that 1 week, and now you're sitting here trying to play catch-up or get back or whatever the case may be? I'm not sure, but the Finns are going to have to find a rhythm here. And hopefully they can do that against the 500 Raiders, right? So the Raiders are coming in at 5-5. I feel bad. Oakland is going through it. Oakland is such a historical city here in America, and let me tell you, it's not without that football team as well that they are historic. What a legendary team that is. Now, the problem with that is for them to be having the problems that they're having. Oh man, Jesus, they are in a not in a great place at the moment, guys, to say the least. So the reason why I'm bringing that to our attention is simple. This is what Miami needs to get back on the ball, all right? They're like 2-2 in their last 4 games, and the issues that Miami's had, if you watch that Chiefs game, you just see them debacle. You just see them just beating themselves, and it's between the penalties, between the turnovers, between that last play where the Tua Tagovailoa wasn't ready for the football, and then he had to fall on it, and I think that was 4th down. So it was one of those plays where you look and you say, yo, what the heck, bro? What's going on? What is my team doing? Well, I don't know what Miami's doing, but I can tell you they had 13 days to rectify it. And in the NFL, pro football season, when you have 13 days to rectify an issue, you better come with it. Right? We know what that means. It's not like you had a short week and, 4 days and you're on a plane, you're resting half that time and you get maybe a day of actual practice and then boom, you're playing the game. That's different, right? That's different. 13 days is inexcusable, Miami. All right? You guys are going to have to come out here and beat the brakes off these Raiders tomorrow at 1 p.m. if you're looking to watch that game. Again, that's the 500 Raiders. They're 5-5 at the moment. They lost a lot of pieces going through a lot over there in Oakland, so it is what it is. Miami, come out. You got a ball, guys. You got a ball. That's what's going on there. The following game for the Finns will be against the Jets. That's the 4-5 Jets. That's going to be a division game, of course. So you're going to want to stack those 2 wins and perhaps do just like the Jaguars do and try to get it to 8-3 as we head into this latter part of the season. That game is going to be Friday, November 24th, 3 p.m. Okay, so guys, remember the Friday part, all right? Because normally I'm giving you these dates for a Sunday, and I'm saying, this team's gonna play Sunday. No, Friday, Thanksgiving, November 24th. Okay, we're gonna have a couple of games, not just NFL games, college basketball games, okay, NBA games. Get ready for that, guys. We'll bring that information to you as you catch the rest of these shows here on IE Sports Radio. But guys, just remember that because of the holiday, you're gonna be watching a lot of games at different times: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's gonna be games all week into the weekend. Okay, it's part of the aesthetic and it's part of something that we love here in America, known as the food, family, and football, as I mentioned earlier before. And also, real quick, for those of you who are interested, congratulations to my Tampa Bay Tech Titans on finally beating Armwood, our arch nemesis, 27-22, as we move and dig a little bit closer to that state championship. I cannot wait to see this team pull it out next week and go in to see about a state championship to wrap the year up. Guys, I'm so profoundly excited for you guys. I am so glad that my alma mater has finally gotten the W. When I was there in high school, we couldn't beat Armwood. Armwood was doing illegal recruiting, but who cares? We don't care about any of that. Yeah, they did it, but we came to win. It doesn't matter if it's David and Goliath or not. We came to win, and let me tell you something, how sweet it is to finally beat Armwood, and in the playoffs for that matter, because it always matters. It feels like that Tampa Bay team, that Tampa Bay Bucks team, and they lost to the Saints in the regular season both times, and they go into the playoffs and then smack them, and they continue on to win maybe one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time, all right? So, congratulations, TBT. So proud of you guys. Rooting for you guys every week. Love you guys. Keep up the good work. And let's go ahead and get to our first break of the evening, guys. When we get back, we'll go ahead and get into this college football action. We'll get some college basketball action, NHL and NBA, and then we'll wrap it up from there. All right, guys? So keep it locked here. Don't go anywhere. My name is Corey Pools, your host for Palm Tree Sports Radio, which is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, sports fans? You're listening to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your favorite West Coast Wisconsinite, Bernie Bango, and if you're a cheesehead, come listen to my show, Big Cheese Sports, where we road trip around America's Dairyland, previewing, reviewing, predicting, debating, and digging into all that is Wisconsin sports at the college and pro levels. Join me on IE Sports Radio, Sundays at 1 p.m. Central Standard. Bernie out.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
You guys definitely got to check out that show. You got to check out all these shows on IE Sports Radio. Such a diverse group of guys that we have here, guys and girls, bringing to you all different kind of sports, all different kind of ways. I'm a huge fan of what I do here. I love it. Larry, I know you're in the chat. Thank you, bro. Taryn, thank you, bro. I appreciate you guys, everything that you do for this organization, and I look forward to continuing to bring great shows here every Saturday afternoon, talking about everything that's coming out of the world of sports in the Sunshine State. With that being said, welcome back to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Guys, let's go ahead and jump into some college football action. As you guys know, it is Saturday. Personally, I've always felt like college football is more exciting than NFL football, but by a little bit, right? It's just a little bit. It's not a lot, but it's noticeable, right? And I think that's just because there's more teams, there's more talent, there's more dynamic, and anything can happen. So let's talk about what's going on in college football, guys. So the Gators, all right? For those of you who do not know, which I'm pretty sure at this point we all know, I'm a Gator. I bleed blue and orange. My do-rag is blue, all right? I got an orange one too, all right? So listen, when I set colors up, if you ask me how I want it, if blue and orange is an option, that's what I'm going to go, okay? So I'm saying that to say this, guys. As much as I love my team, it's been hard to watch, guys. It's been very, very, very hard to watch this team play this year. I personally, at the beginning of the season, was concerned about our offense. I wasn't sure if our offense would be able to ball out, and it seems that the offense is not the problem. It's the defense. I'm not sure what Armstrong's doing there at defensive coordinator, but it rhymes with losing. Okay? I am not a fan of what we're doing on the defensive side of the ball. I get it. Guys, I get it. We've got 11 freshmen playing football, right? Like we're doing with the old FSU trick they did a couple years ago. Let's get all these talented freshmen. Let's just throw them in there and let's let them develop. Let's just let them go. And a year from now, 2 years from now, they'll be the best juniors, seniors in all college football. I get that, right? Like cool, because it's working out for them, right? They're 10-0, undefeated, headed to the ACC championship game where they're no doubtly going to win that and just continue on rolling down the hill as we would expect them to. Okay, cool, that's great. We're not FSU, guys. We are the University of Florida. We are the Gators, and we play in the SEC, the toughest conference in all of college football, the toughest conference in all of sports in general ever to begin with. Okay, and it's one of those things where the more you see it, the more you can see the patterns and you can see what's going on and you can kind of make sense of what the future has in store, i.e. Georgia most likely going for a third national title in a row, all right, which is completely unheard of and just absolutely mind-boggling and disgusting, and I hate to talk about it because when you have Georgia fans come down here and, they just want to rub it in our face and whatnot because, they don't have any respect, but hey, neither does LSU, and that's what I really want to talk about here. Now, I'm watching the Georgia game, and this game against Tennessee is about what you would expect it to be. Georgia running away with it just as they run away with the last two games at Rocky Top. It is what it is. Now, LSU is a different ballgame, okay? For those of you who have heard my show before, y'all know I go in and I don't care if it's my team or the next team, okay? The Gators last week, defensively, horrendous. Worst defensive performance in program history. Worst defensive performance I've ever watched a team put on. I am absolutely pissed at my defensive coordinator, and I want him out. Okay? Billy is fine. Billy is not the issue. And the more I study Billy, the more I see his plan unraveling. And I have to say, I think I'm going to stand by him. Okay? I think I'm standing behind Billy Napier. I think the guy has the right idea. His recruiting this past year was off the charts good. He didn't have great recruiting over the last couple years due to the fact that it was already here from Dan Mullen and McElwain and all the people that came before him. The point that I'm making is very, very simple. I think Billy wants to be here in Florida. I think he's trying and doing his absolute best. He's recruiting his tail off to make this team relevant again. But let me tell you, defensively, I don't know what we're doing, all right? I have zero idea. I have zero clue. Listen, guys, I stand about 5'7", 5'8". I go about $132, all right? I can play better defense than what my Gators played on Saturday. You understand me? I can do that, what they couldn't do. And I'm not saying that. I've played the game, so I understand what goes into it. But let me tell you, the assignment differential and the responsibility and accountability taken on the defensive side of the ball was nowhere to be seen as the Gators lost this game by a score of whopping 52-35. Now, if we lose 52-35 to Georgia, cool. Number one team in the country, undefeated. We get it. Rival. Yeah. Okay. Respectable. All right. At least the offense puts up 35 points. But we lost to LSU. All right. So for those of you who do not know why this is a big deal, is one, if you follow college football, you know that in the SEC, each SEC team on the East and West has an eternal rival on the opposite side. Okay? So the Gators' eternal rival in the West is LSU. What that means is the Florida Gators are guaranteed to play LSU every year. All right? They're not guaranteed to play any other team in the West except for LSU every year. Okay? And for the team that we're guaranteed to play every year, we gave up 52 points, guys. Cinco do, okay? 5-2. That is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I have had it with this defense. I am over the moon about my Florida Gators, but I am under the moon when it comes to this defense and this defensive coordinator. I want him out. I want somebody who's going to come in, and they're going to put discipline on the team, and they're going to hold people accountable, and they're going to say, blow a play if you want to, you'll be on the bench, okay? Because that's what the Gators did consistently. They let Jaden Daniels walk all up and down them. I think at halftime, the kid had 220 yards rushing. Okay, Jaden Daniels put up like 3 touchdowns in the air and 2 on the ground. And he goes for over 200 yards, both passing and rushing. And passing was over 250. I think he was over about 300 mark. He was responsible for about 500 yards of total offense. Guys, I don't know how to tell the Florida Gators that there's this thing called the man spy, the QB spy that they created in the NFL some time ago to stop dual threat quarterbacks from running amok on them. If you guys remember Michael Vick in his rookie season 2002, the Buccaneers assigned Derek Brooks to Michael Vick. Michael Vick had 125 yards passing, and I think it was 25 yards rushing on the day. Buccaneers won that game 38-14 or something like that. You guys get what I'm saying? There's a way to do this, okay? The Gators did not do it. So, yes, I'm going to harp on the lack of discipline in my team because accountability is key, and somebody needs to stand up and take responsibility for this debacle and this horrendous performance, which ultimately looks terrible on Billy, though it is not his fault. The offense was humming, and they gave the defense every chance that they could to be in this game and to win this game. The defense did not show up. They did not play. They looked terrible, and I don't like what I saw there. Sit all those guys down. Bring some new players in. I want some spirit. I want some energy, and I want some just ruckus. I want somebody to get in there and knock somebody out because let me tell you something. That is not how you play defense. If you're gonna play defense like that, you won't make it to the end of the year at Florida. Very simple, okay? Or you will, and you'll be gone. Now, I'm done losing my breath about how they played. LSU played dirty. And for those of you who did not watch, there were multiple plays where the LSU Tigers were just playing unfundamental football. They were playing undisciplined football, and the referees allowed it. There was one play specifically where a Gator was being tackled out of bounds, and he was tackled all the way to the Gatorade and water stands. Okay, there was no late hit, no personal foul, and sportsmanlike conduct. There was nothing of the sort. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be honest with you. If that's me, I'm throwing hands. I'm throwing hands, and it's for a very simple reason. We're not in the field of play anymore. Anything that you're doing to me outside the field of play is personal, and this game is not. It should not be personal, okay? We all train. Everybody trains to play this game, and you got me messed up in the head if you think I'm going 10 yards off out of bounds and going to continue to receive this physical, treatment, all right? Out of bounds is exactly that. It's out of bounds. LSU, anybody representing LSU, I'm going to say this one time. You played a dirty freaking game, and you guys will pay for it. You will pay for it. Don't worry. It may not be now, and it may not be next week. It may not be this year. But understand this, LSU. You will pay for the disrespect and the physical embarrassment that you put on the Florida Gators last week. And when you do pay, make zero mistake about it. It's very personal. It's very personal. Billy Napier hails from Louisiana, if I also remember that correctly, too. He used to coach the Raging Cajuns down there. Okay? Don't think Billy forgot about this. Because I know I sure as hell did it, and I will not forget about it. Now that we're done with personal business, the Gators have a game tonight against 11th ranked Missouri. Okay, this game is kind of scary, guys, because we just played horribly against LSU. Now we're going against another higher ranked team than LSU. Quite frankly, a team that seems to be playing better football than LSU right now in the Missouri Tigers. I have respect for the Zoo. The Zoo came into the SEC and beat the Gators the first 2 years, and it was very, very humbling experience to see that happen until Jalen Tabor took one back to the house, and then we finally able to put the Zoo away in the third year of their time in the SEC. Shout out to Jalen Tabor. If you guys haven't seen that interception, it's on YouTube. Go check it out. One of the greatest interceptions, pick sixes you'll ever see. That game comes into the Forum later tonight, 7:30 p.m. Like I said, Gators at the Zoo. Going to be a rough game. I just don't see the Gators becoming bowl eligible as we have to play the Zoo here, and then we have FSU the following week. But with our defense playing the way that it's going, there's no way that no team would not take advantage of this defense. And if it comes to a shootout, I fully suspect Missouri's defense to show up on a couple of drives and for the Gators to lose a 38-35 ball game. It could be even closer than that. It could be more points or less points scored, but really it doesn't matter. It's just going to come down to how many points the defense allows and how often the offense is going to get a chance to score a touchdown, score a field goal, just put points on the board. I would love for the Gators to win this game, upset the Zoo. I just don't see it happening. We need one more win to become bowl eligible. There's no way in hell I see us beating FSU with the way FSU's been playing. Even though Miami did give us a recipe for success, I don't know if we'll be able to mimic that, especially with the lack of defense, whereas these other teams, the Zoo, Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee, they have that. They have better defenses. So that's what's going on there for that game, guys. The final game, obviously, against FSU. I'm not going to harp too much on FSU due to the fact that, obviously, the final game is the rivalry game here. FSU, guys, there's no other way to say it. And even though I'm a Gator, even though I'm not the biggest fan of FSU, and I don't really, that's our rival, our in-state rival, it is what it is. FSU is clearly the class of Florida. They are the best team, and they are ranked 4th in the nation with a 10-0 start to the season, about to be 11-0 as they destroy North Alabama today. Obviously, this is not much of a game. This is going to be one of those gimme games. So look for FSU to return to 11-0 as they go into the final week of the game, or final week of the season against Florida in the rivalry game for bragging rights across the state. Obviously, if FSU wins, which again I fully suspect them to, if FSU wins, that'll give them a perfect 12-0. And hey, it's what you expect from FSU or from Florida at any given time. Miami, yeah, they've been a little confusing since the early 2000s. I get it, but Florida State, you know what to expect. I mean, was it 3 national championships since the turn of the century? 2 of them by Florida, 1 by FSU. The one by FSU came off the back of a perfect season, and here they are returning with another perfect season. What looks to be here late in the season, as like I said, they get ready to wrap up tonight with a 6:30 ball game against Northern Alabama. Again, look for them just to absolutely destroy them. As far as with the Gators to be concerned, again, like I said, I don't see if there's any way if they can beat Florida State. Florida State has it all going on offense, running back, offensive line, wide receivers, quarterback. Jordan Travis is balling out. Defense looks just as good as they did at the beginning of the season when they destroyed LSU. That's just what it is, guys. And take consideration, LSU put 52 on Florida, so if that's what the team that lost to FSU put on the Gators, what do you think FSU is going to put on there? Don't put it in the chat. I don't want to know what you're thinking. Just say it out loud or something, but don't put it in the chat because I'm already hurting enough. In any case, FSU, that game is going to be played. The Florida Gators FSU game, that is going to be played Saturday, November 25th, 7 p.m. Guys, that's going to be a phenomenal game. I'm happy that it's on the Saturday. It's not going to be on Thanksgiving simply because, obviously, it's a rivalry game. We're going to want to be able to sit down and watch this and be able to yell and scream and laugh and cry and whatever the hell else it is that we're going to do during that game. It's, as always, go Gators, but FSU clearly, again, the class of Florida and looking like the best team in the state as well, for that matter. They came off of an iffy game against Miami. That game was actually a relatively good game. FSU started out pretty hot. They looked like they were going to run away with the game. And then out of nowhere, Miami claws back into the game. I actually watched the second half of that game. Was thoroughly impressed until 17 got injured. I can't remember what his name is, but it was a nasty injury. I'm not going to say FSU was trying to injure him, but he was a quarterback running with the football, and it looked like that they were trying to put a hurting on him for sure. Which, I get it. He's a ball carrier, but definitely shortened his career, his football career. I hope the kid's doing all right. Tyler Van Dyke comes in, throws an interception right after they just had a phenomenal play for a deep ball to score a touchdown and get it within a touchdown game. FSU gets the ball back and they run the clock out, effectively ending that game. And any chance that Miami had for a decent ball game. They will get a ball game. They will go bowling, but they're not getting nothing special, guys. So, it is what it is. Speaking of the Canes, they lost, of course, 27-20 to FSU. They played Louisville today. Take a guess. They lost that game too. Also a touchdown game, 38-31. That's 9th-ranked Louisville, who now moves to 10-1. And I believe Louisville is going to go see FSU for the, actually, is it Louisville and FSU? I think it's Louisville and FSU for the ACC title. Winner of that game should obviously have an inside track to the college football playoffs, but I imagine that if FSU was to lose that game, that FSU would get knocked out of the college football playoffs due to the fact that obviously Michigan and Ohio State are going to play each other. Whoever wins that game is obviously going to be undefeated at the end of the season, so that means you're going to have an undefeated Georgia team. You're going to have an undefeated either Michigan or Ohio State team. You're going to have unless for some reason Alabama is able to beat Georgia, then you would have Georgia, Alabama sitting there with probably Alabama at 1 at that point, Georgia at the 2, or whoever's undefeated between Ohio State and Michigan at the 2, and then you put Georgia there, and then after that, it's a roll of dice. You just pick the next best team at that point. And I can't say that Louisville would really be in that conversation due to the fact that their schedule was a little bit less than obviously Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State. Man. Canes, man. Canes. Last game of the season for them is going to be against Boston College. This is a 6-5 Boston College team. That's coming to you in the form of November 24th, 12 p.m. start time. So that's going to be the early game on that Friday. Miami, I want to say you guys can win. Here's the problem. You guys just seem to be in touchdown games no matter who you play against. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'll tell you this. If you're going to beat Boston College, you're going to have to beat them clean. All right? Get to the 7th win on the season. Wrap the season up with a bow on it and end it with a W, please, guys, because it sucks to see Miami in the throes of barely staying above 500, especially, with how storied this college is, but I don't know, I guess y'all haven't been the same since Alabama in 93. Poor Gino Toretta. Oh well, that was a long time ago, and here we are 40 years later, or 30 years later, I should say. Miami 6-5, FSU 10-0, Gators 5-5 here. We'll see what happens for the next few games, but at least FSU's playing good football, guys. Let's go ahead and take our second break of the evening, and when we get back, we'll go ahead and get into that NBA, college hoops, and NHL. Some hockey stats I have for you, and then, we'll wrap it up with some food for thought as we head into this Thanksgiving week. Thank you for joining me here on Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pools, and as always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr., and I'm welcoming you to take another lap with the fastest show on IE Sports Radio. Yes, this is the Extra Mile with me and my co-hosts Christopher Lehman and Michael Ward. We talk everything racing from NASCAR to IndyCar to Formula One to limited hydroplanes, endurance racing, the NHRA, and more. So come join us for an hour of great racing talk and a lot of fun as well on the Extra Mile, Thursdays at 8 p.m. only on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is the standard right there, Larry B. 3 and Out, guys. Check it out if you haven't heard it. That, like I said, that's the man. That's the guy who gets it popping. That's the guy who's giving me my opportunity here. And as always, the guy I take my notes from, learn how to do my show, and continue to bring you guys this content every week. With that being said, welcome back to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host. And as always, this is brought to you and powered by eSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, guys. That Georgia game wrapped up. Obviously, Georgia won that game, so FSU's game is now underway against North Alabama. So, guys, I will be eyeballing that game until the Gator game comes on in about a half hour, about 45 minutes from now, give or take. So be looking forward to that. We'll see what happens there as we dive into and change gears from football over to basketball, guys. So NBA, got a little bit of information here. We're a little bit further on into the season. It was playing tournaments. Yeah, obviously, new jerseys look hot. These new floors look pretty dope, right? Like we've all been seeing the new customization for the different teams. Obviously the Lakers, the Heat, just everybody, honestly, because I've watched a few games here and there. I've been eyeballing some things, and I really enjoy what they've been doing here, bringing some change here to the NBA. Much accepted change, I think. Something that's not an eyesore, something that I think we could grow to enjoy a little bit more, the more that we see it. Now, with that being said, we're going to talk about the Miami Heat. First, the Miami Heat are no longer the Miami Heat. They are the Miami on fire, guys. This team is just shredding it. This is what you expect from Eric Spoelstra's team. I'm always going to say that when I get on here, right? Because until we realize just how great of a head coach this man is, he's not going to get the credit that he deserves, and he deserves all the credit in the world. Eric is an absolute terror at head coach in the NBA, okay? And he's been showing that as the Heat are now on a 7-game win streak, guys. Winners of 7 in a row. The Heat have been doing behind tremendous offense and pretty good defense on the perimeter as well as in the paint. Doing a good job not fouling out and again these technical situations. Very proud of what the Heat are able to accomplish with these first couple of games so far. They are sitting at an 8-4 record, one of the best records in the NBA at the moment. They will be playing the Bulls tonight at 8 p.m. That Bulls team just came off of a 2-game skid against the Magic. They are now 4-9 on the season. Not looking too good, and I know they're not happy about dropping those 2 games to the Magic. We'll talk about that in a second. But that following game, so this is the first 2-game series between the Heat and the Bulls. The second game will be on Monday, November 20th at 8 p.m. Guys, get ready for that game, of course. That's going to be your typical Monday night countdown thing where we have, obviously, we're going to have NFL football. We're going to have NBA basketball. We're going to have Monday Night Raw. We're going to have a whole bunch of stuff. So you just look forward to flipping through your channels, hitting last a lot on your remote because that's what I'll be doing. I'm going to be going back and forth. I'm going to be checking out all these games, and I can't wait to see what happens. And, of course, watching Monday Night Raw. But with that being said, Heat-Bulls game, I look forward to Heats to extending their record from 8-4 to 10-4. The Bulls aren't playing phenomenal basketball at the moment, and they're very susceptible on the defensive side of the ball, which this is where the Heat come in. And with a head coach like Eric Spoelstra, who's able to draw up plays the way that he is, especially on the fly with the talent that he has and possesses, I look forward to seeing what the outcome is of these 2 games. I fully expect Miami to win both these games unless anybody's taking a break. With that being said, go Miami. Go ahead and get to the 10-4 record as we get ready to slide into these next set of games and working through this play-in tournament that they have for the NBA at the moment, which is also a nice little touch. Now, like I said, winners of 7 in a row, the Heat are on fire. Here's the thing. We know it's going to end at some point, but we're not worried about that, right? And you can't really worry about something like that when your team's performing well. You just kind of got to ride the wave, and you got to expect the unexpected, but stay grounded, right? Now, I know that sounds weird, ride the wave and then stay grounded, but you get what I'm saying, guys. At the end of the day, the NBA is pro-level style basketball where there will be wins, there will be losses. It doesn't matter how good your team is or how bad your team is. Excuse me. How bad your team is. You're going to find wins, you're going to find losses. The Magic so far this season have been a prominent example of that. Let's go ahead and talk about them real quick. They're sitting at a 7-5 record right now. This team last year was not looking that hot at all. They were very young, very inexperienced, and they didn't really have a position on the basketball court. There was just a bunch of good ballers going out there playing the game, but not really playing as a team. The Magic are now playing as a team, and it's showing. They're able to beat other teams, and teams well endowed like the Chicago Bulls, who have a plethora of talent, but they are not using it together. All right, they are not putting it all together. And remember, this is all a team sport. So without the team in the sport, it just becomes a sport with a bunch of athletes on the court. And I'm not trying to rhyme, but you get what I'm saying. So the Magic, winners of 2 in a row in those 2 games against the Bulls. They beat the Bulls 103-97. You guys know what my standard is. You want to be good at basketball, it's the same thing. You got to score over 100. You got to keep the other team from scoring 100. And if you do that, you'll win a lot of games. Very simple, right? Well, okay. That's what the Magic have done. That's what they've done the last 2 times, actually, to be exact. Now, before that, Lil Rocky, obviously playing a couple of good teams, playing some teams that they, maybe they don't stack up well against. And when you watch the Magic play, you can kind of see their strengths and weaknesses, which explains their 7-5 record. But a lot of young talent in all the right places. Again, they just have to work together. When they work together, they win. Doesn't matter who they're playing. We saw it last year when they played against Boston. They beat Boston 2 nights in a row. And you're saying, like this is the team that we think is going to potentially win the East. Well, guess what? The worst team in the East has something to say about that. So you get what I'm saying, and it's something that you love to see. My dad's a big Magic fan, so shout out to you, Dad. All love for the Magic right now. They're playing decent basketball. You just got to continue to play this way, playing as a team, recognizing who has the hot hand, playing good defense, and just overall just playing the game, right? Just letting your athletes do what athletes do, right? That's what we got to get back to. It's still a sport. Still requires teamwork. So good job, Magic, on the 2 games in a row. Next game is going to be against the Pacers. That comes in the form of a tomorrow night game, actually at 5 p.m. So obviously that'll be on during a lot of the football too. So we'll probably be passing back and forth to see what that looks like. See how they do against the Pacers. The Pacers arrive in this game at a 7-4 record. So a decent record, similar situation to the Orlando Magic. They just real young team. Got to play with a lot of teamwork. Got to play with a lot of precision. Got to play defense. Got to not make dumb choices. Don't get in technical situations. And again, just play the game. All right, just play the game. How often is that we tell people that we're watching football teams or watching our hockey team or baseball team, and it seems like they're getting too far into their thought process. Just play the game, guys. Just play the game. All right, if you play the game, good things will happen. All right, just keep playing. That's what's going on in the NBA, guys, though. But let's go ahead and get on to the next bit, which is the college basketball scene, guys. I want to touch on that real quick as well, just because I know now we're a little bit further into the season, so I'll be able to comment a little bit more what's going on here. So obviously the team right now to look at in college basketball from the state of Florida is going to be the Miami Hurricanes, which is the exact opposite from college football. You would think it's like the last team, but this is the first team you should be paying attention to here. So here's the interesting part about what's going on with Miami. They're ranked 12th. They start the season off 4-0, all right? And their next game is against Kansas State tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. After this game, they're going to see some ranked teams, okay? But they have another game, get to them at 5-0, all right? They should win this game against Kansas State early on and continue to stay ranked high and move up and move up and move up and move up as we get closer to the dance. You know, once March Madness gets around here, anybody's subject to getting their behinds kicked. So it's very important to note that, go Canes. Hey, man, go Canes. Now, historically, the Canes have, been decent on the basketball court. They've always been better in football, but they've been decent on the basketball court. So we look forward to seeing what they're able to do and if they're able to actually put a winning season together. When I mean winning season, I mean like an actual, get into the big dance Final Four type winning season. Like, we want to see what this team can really do. So, good luck to this team. We'll see what happens, and let's just go from there, guys. FSU and the Gators, nothing to be too concerned about going on with those two teams, as the season for them has also started pretty early. So FSU sent a 2-1 record to start the season. They're playing UNLV. If you want to get a look at that game's going to come to you in the form of Monday, November 20th at 5:30 p.m. So that's going to be a little bit earlier game before all the primetime stuff starts to hit. There should be primetime college basketball as well if that's your thing and you want to check it out. Again, I'll probably be watching Monday Night Football, Monday Night Raw, and of course that Heat game against the Bulls. Obviously, I want to see how the team's going to perform against a team that has the type of talent that the Bulls have and see if the Bulls are actually able to put it together. If not, hey, good for the Heat. In the meantime, between time, that's what's headed your way for the FSU fans watching college basketball this season. I should say. And for all the Gators fans watching college basketball this season, first things first, we got to commit from an in-state guy, and he's 7'7". That's all I'm going to say. If you know who I'm talking about, yay. If you don't know who I'm talking about, go look the kid up. He's absolutely huge. He's got a good game. Kind of reminds me of Victor Wembanyama, not just because they're both 7'7", but it's going to be a big deal for Florida, especially being able to build a team around that. It's going to be a very, very interesting project. Can't wait to see how it works out for the Florida Gators. In the meantime, 3-1 record is how they start the season. No big games yet. They were able to beat FSU, which gave FSU the first loss of the season. FSU is a game behind Florida in Miami, so that means their season's going to be ending a day or 2 days later than Florida as well. But you guys get how that works. The next game for the Florida Gators is going to be against Pittsburgh. That game comes in the form of Wednesday, November 22nd at 9:30 p.m. So if you're looking for what to watch in the middle of the week, you're not doing anything on Wednesday, there's usually not much of anything on Wednesday to begin with, unless you're watching AEW, which I will be. Check out that Gators game against Pittsburgh and see what we're working with. We got a decent team going on this year. I think our loss was to Virginia. I think that was our loss earlier this season, but other than that, straight wins on the board, looking to improve that and continue to become a ranked team and make it our way into the dance if we can. I guess we'll have to wait and see once we play some better teams, but we'll get there soon enough. And that's what's going on there in college hoops. Like I said, beginning of the season, most teams only have 4 games played so far, and all 3 teams looking relatively good for the time being. Like I said, 4-0 for the Miami Hurricanes, 2-1 for the FSU Florida State Seminoles, and then for the University of Florida Gators, 3-1 to start the season, coming off that win against FSU. So congratulations there, guys. I know we're probably not going to beat them in college football, but hey, at least we can get in college hoops. For the NHL, guys, and this will bring me to my last bit for the evening, before I get ready to let you guys, the NHL, guys, the Bolts have been playing some iffy hockey lately, okay? So I caught a little bit of the game the other day. It was ugly. It didn't look good. They were trading goals, and then out of nowhere, the offense just snapped and put up 4 goals in order to rout, and get us back into the win column after a win-loss. We're 2-3 in the last 5 games, so we have to play better, especially with the Bruins coming to town, guys. Now, we were losing to the Oilers. If somebody wants to go ahead and put that score in there, I'll put it on the show. But we were losing to the Oilers 3-2 at the end of the second period earlier today. That game might actually be over now, but that was the last time that I saw the game. It was a 3-2 at the end of the period. I think there was 10 seconds left in the end of the second period. So the Oilers aren't exactly the best team either in hockey. So if we're struggling against the Oilers, I can only imagine how we're going to play against the Bruins. Now, the Bruins, on the other hand, now the Oilers have a 5-9-1 record, okay? So they've comfortably lost some games. The Bruins, they're 12-1-2, okay? I'm going to say that again. The Bruins are 12-1-2. Now, this is a historically great hockey team. I get it. These guys are nuts. But, sheesh. I don't know how the Bolts are going to feel playing a 12-1 team right now, guys. I don't. That confidence that the Bruins are going to have is going to be on another level. So the Bolts are going to have to come to play. They're going to have to come to win. And if they want to win, they're going to have to play some of the best hockey they played all year long. Again, we've been hot and cold. We're rocking a 7-6-4 record, so barely staying above 500. That 4 ties is just very... it's too much, guys. It's just too much. So hopefully the Bolts can start to get it together. That Bruins game is going to come to you in the form of Monday, November 20th at 7 p.m. So, guys, if you're getting the flow here, there's a lot to watch on Monday. All right? There's going to be a lot to watch on Monday. Hell, there's going to be a lot to watch all week, guys. It's Thanksgiving. So what do you guys expect, right? You know, all the kids are going to be home from school. A lot of businesses are going to slow their hours, change their hours. And then don't forget, obviously, you have Black Friday and Cyber Monday coming up shortly after that. So it's going to go from hot to cold to hot again. And so... just be prepared for that, guys. Again, a lot to look out for. Again, that game comes to you, the Bolts versus the Bruins. And I say the Bolts, it's the Lightning Bolts, but, you know, you get what I'm saying, guys. The Bolts versus the Bruins, Monday, November 20th, 7 p.m. if you're looking for that game. And like I said, this game against the Oilers should be over by now. If anybody has it scored, go ahead and drop it in there real quick before I wrap up the show, and I'll mention it live. But that's what's going on, guys, in the state of Florida. You know, thank you guys for joining me. The show's a little bit longer than normal because I had to get some emotions out. I had to talk about what's going on and how we feel down here in the South, especially after watching the way the Gators have been playing football, especially after watching how Miami's been playing football, especially after watching how the Jaguars played against the 49ers, especially with the Niners coming to town against the Gators. Hey, the Bolts won 6-4. Alrighty, great, good job, Lightning. Okay, well, good job offensively. Okay, defensively, let's clean up those 4. Let's clean up those 4 scores. Okay, we're a good defensive team historically speaking. We got to get back to that. All right, that 4 is a lot. Thanks for that, Dad. I really appreciate you. Shout out to you, Dad. I love you. Can't wait to see you for Thanksgiving. And that leaves me what I have to tell you guys before we head out of here this evening, guys. Spend time with your loved ones. I'm going to say that every week because life is too short. Time is not guaranteed, and neither is tomorrow. Okay? This is Thanksgiving. Food, family, and football is tradition here. Me and my dad share a meal, and we watch a game every Thanksgiving. We've been doing it for pretty much the whole time I've been alive. We tend to do it with family, and that's not going to be any different this year. We're going to be spending time with family, and I absolutely can't wait. Again, my favorite time of the year because I get to be around my favorite people, eat my favorite food, and watch my favorite sport. Food, family, and football. I encourage you guys to take on that mantra, if you will, because what a time to be alive and what a time it is to enjoy being alive and doing the things that we love. Spend time with your family, pray, stay safe, be careful, okay? Always be careful. You know, it may not be you, it may be the person next to you, so keep that in mind, all right? And I'll see you guys here, same place, same time next week. Thank you guys so much for joining me here on Palm Tree Sports Radio. It's been my pleasure to talk to you this week, and I look forward to bringing you more content next week. Have a wonderful week, you guys. Until next time, peace.